All right, lads mostly, right? I know we have a couple women on the channel, but lads mostly. Sombra del Piso here, once again, in the middle of nowhere, not in the middle of the night. I don't walk in my sleep through the valley of truth, through the river so deep. I don't do any of those things, but I probably do in my dreams, which is what that singer was referencing. We are going to talk more as part 4 of this analysis on the appendix chapter of the Adonis and the Alphabet book, written by one of my heroes, Aldous Huxley, one of my favorite guys. So like, comment, subscribe, as I said, and let's get right into it. We already went over a couple of the old classic cultures analyses on the sexual union and how interrupting sex, right, as you're doing it, will save, it's hallowed in the eyes of God. Sombra del Piso's opinion, and as with most of you guys that watch this channel, we already know that that ain't permitted, right, how we do things. And I'm sure that the Almighty doesn't like that either, because you're edging. When you edge, literally, you are producing sperm. The semens are getting converted into sperm, and that means that it has to exit the body. So let's read on. Aldous Huxley, finally, we've been reading for the past 3 parts all of these other people's opinions on the sexual act. Now we're gonna hear a little bit of what Aldous has to say, we hope. Let's check it out. Male continence is not merely a device for domesticating sexuality and heightening its psychological significance. It is also, as the history of the Oneida community, which was the community started by Hoyes, it was like he was trying to imitate Jesus, and he basically preached male continence, being celibate, which is good, but ultimately he also preached polygamy as well. So of course you could try to sleep with someone to propagate and have children, but you could sleep with multiple people. You don't belong to one woman, the woman doesn't belong to one man, which I don't agree with. Because that's not control. As the history of the Oneida community abundantly proves, a remarkably effective method of birth control. Indeed, under the name of coitus reservatus. Apparently coitus reservatus is one of the 2 methods of birth control approved by the authorities of the Roman Church. If coitus reservatus, I hope that means being continent, being celibate. Because if it doesn't mean that, then it probably means the other one where you are basically sleeping with someone, but you're not releasing, which means you're still generating sperms in the first place, which means that they have to get removed from the body, which means you failed anyway, right? The church is always telling us nonsense, right? They mislead us in terms of, at least when I grew up Roman Catholic, Sombras grew up Roman Catholic. We learned about Adam and Eve, right? We learned about the Exodus of the Israelites from Egypt after the Pharaoh and all of his kin got infected with all these plagues. And then we learned about Jesus, various stages of resurrection. We didn't learn about King David. We didn't learn about Jeremiah. We didn't learn about the chapter of Daniel. We didn't learn about Revelation. The Catholic Church doesn't teach us these things. They just tell us about the most popular parts of the Bible. Listen, this is a little silly, listening to them in regards to birth control. But I'm just saying the best birth control there is being on semen retention. Do not sleep with anyone. And you're not peaking, by the way, because remember, Pinhead from Hellraiser 8 or 9 or whatever, lust has advanced. People can sin sexually online via adult films, via looking at softcore pornography. This is a reality. So you can't even be peeking at that. We know this though, and we shouldn't be. Don't listen to this, don't edge. Don't touch down there. Don't do anything that will stimulate that area. The other and more widely publicized method being the restriction of intercourse to the so-called safe periods. Safe periods? Safe periods? What's a safe period to have to sleep with someone? That's interesting. Unfortunately, large-scale field experiments in India have shown that in the kind of society which has the most urgent need of birth control, in the kind of society that has the most urgent need of birth control. Well, it's funny because China has a huge population as well. I think second to India, right? I didn't know that. Well, India's second to it. I think India has less people than China does. The thing is that China basically was saying that their population was so big that they had a law that basically reduced the number of children that families could have. And of course, men were regarded, or boys were regarded, much more important than women. And so when people would have girls, I think they would give them away or do something horrible with them. Now, China has a birth crisis. A crisis of marriage crisis, because there's just too many men in the country. Imagine that. The ultimate birth control method, lads, the ultimate birth control method is being celibate. We know this. Let's do away with all these silly things. Meanwhile, over most of the earth, population is rising faster than available resources. Written in the 50s, by the way, Aldous Huxley, my hero, and should be your hero as well, talking about overpopulation and the problems thereof, right? There are more people with less to eat, but when the standard of living goes down, social unrest goes up, and the revolutionary agitator, which has no scruples about making promises, which he knows very well he cannot keep, finds golden opportunities, right? As he writes so well. I'm so jealous of the way that these people write, man. I'm telling you, I don't envy much. I only envy ability. And this guy and Rod Serling, excellent writing ability. These guys are powerful, they're genius. What he's saying is that overpopulation is an issue. When overpopulation happens, obviously there's a finite number of resources on the planet. When the finite resources are reached, the limit is reached, they are going to have an excess amount of people due to overpopulation that will not have. They're going to be getting scraps forever, which is the reason why there's a prominence of genetically modified foods, synthetic ingredients, and all these alternative ways of dealing with the migrant crisis. It is all due to overpopulation. And what is the source? What is the seed of the issue? People are not being sexually continent. Latin America is big on sensual expression, right? Sexual continence is something that's not even in the books for a lot of the people that live in Latin America. But that is something that needs to be practiced in all societies, Latin America, China, India, and America. And it's interesting because Confucius talks about sexual continence. In India, in Hinduism, they talk about Shiva is the embodiment of being continent. In America and in parts of Western Europe, these guys, the religions talk about being controlling the sexual organs, stop committing adultery, or not even getting into the way of committing adultery, so you don't, commit the act that you will not obviously have responsibility over the result over. This is the issue. Overpopulation is an issue, and it will continue to be an issue because we have people that propagate this type of licentious behavior, these elites, these secret societies that want to cause unrest, social unrest in the world. Let's continue. And then of course he talks about the revolutionary agitator. A very powerful phrase, who has no scruples about making promises which he knows very well he cannot keep. These leaders that we vote into office that seem like they're for the people, that seem like they could take us out of the various social issues that we have all around the world in the nation. But he doesn't. They have no way of doing that because there is no way. The only way is to cull sexual union. Of course, independently. We're not going to force some sort of ban like China did. The idea is to be sexually continent. But that's a long forgotten phrase in the modern contemporary world. We have dating apps now that's for the sole purpose of hooking up. We have sex workers. We have OnlyFans. We have Instagram, that basically operates as a softcore OnlyFans website. We have all these various websites and services that promote sexual licentiousness. It will be very, very difficult to get back, very, very difficult to get back to tradition. Confronted by the appalling dangers inherent in population increase at present rates, most governments have permitted, and one or two have actually encouraged their subjects to make use of contraceptives, but they have done so in the teeth of protests from the Roman Church. Of course, remember, this was written in like the 50s. Aldous Huxley, I'm sorry. This is the future. My name is Sombra Del Piso. I am a dark-skinned individual. I don't know if you have any qualms about that, but maybe you'll just pay attention to the information being said. Dark-skinned individual that is very interested in sexual continence, not by the ways that you described here by the very, very powerful spiritual, religious individuals that you referenced, but by the ways that I've observed in this contemporary world and the ways that work for me. The Roman Church is basically obsolete. There are only a few people that go there, and the few people that go there just out of respect for tradition of their forefathers and their fathers or grandfathers, they also sexually sin as well. We are pretty much screwed. I am sorry, Aldous Huxley, I am sorry. I live in New York. New York, I think you visited it once. Right now, big difference from back then, but right now, property costs are through the roof. I'm paying so much for rent. Sorry, Aldous. This life sucks. I'm glad that you passed when you passed, because it is pretty much hard and difficult to sort of thrive in this new society. Overpopulation of the world is way worse of an issue now than it has been in your time, Aldous. I am very, very sorry. Right now, there's just so many people, contraceptive methods, right? And devices, condoms, what do you call that? The vasectomies and whatnot. They barely happen. It happens to a minority, right? People are licentiously joining in sexual union. This world is pretty much screwed. I am very sorry to tell you this, Aldous, but you still have an acolyte, right? A fan here that will constantly read everything that you've said, and we'll see if we could put something into practice. At least, you know, I've been on semen retention for 7 months. I've been doing pretty well. This place is sort of done for. Listen, let's see what else he has to say. By outlawing contraceptives and by advocating instead 2 methods of birth control, one of which doesn't work while the other effective method is never systematically taught. The prelates of that church seem to be doing their best to ensure, first, a massive increase in the sum of human misery, and second, the triumph within a generation or two, world communism. Come on, bro. What did I tell, guys, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? Aldous is a genius. If he is not your hero, or if you have not ever read any of his books, you need to read his books immediately. He's basically saying, due to this rampant, licentious behavior from the individuals of this world that's leading and perpetuating overpopulation, there will come, as the Bible talks about, some antichrist or some individual that seeks to have all the answers to the issues, when in reality, that person is just ushering in a new period of enslavement that we will all accept, right? Because none of us have the mental power, the willpower to know when a slavery is coming. And 2, we don't care. We're not gonna even care that we are enslaved, as long as we still could call Uber Eats and get our delivery food, and be able to go to OnlyFans and pay $20 for some licentious picture or some licentious video from some woman that's lost their hope in the world years ago. This is the reality. This is the reality. Aldous Huxley, he didn't have to be living in 2024 to tell us the nature of the future world, which is now, it's current, and it's coming. Maybe it can be stopped, maybe it can't be saved. What I'm saying is this: fellow men, dudes, guys, and women that watch the channel, do well and think about the actions that you are committing in this finite universe, this metaphysical world, right? Well, on a deeper level. Men, be celibate. If you are not on semen retention, get on semen retention immediately. The nature of the world will open up like an oyster revealing its pearl. And as you chip away at the pearl, right, you will see darkness in it, void, an abyss, oblivion, a deep, dark chasm. It will have form. That means it does have an end and a limit. This is what semen retention only reveals: truth. It only reveals what life is, the objective reality of life. We blind ourselves with marriage. We blind ourselves with highly stimulating food. We blind ourselves with domesticated animals. We blind ourselves with these silly vacations that temporarily take us away from the problem. Semen retention will bring you right in front of it and have you look at it in the eye, lock you in a room with it, and in that room you'll be locked in a cage with that darkness, with that reality, the objective reality. And you will have to make a decision. If you stay on semen retention, trust me, the right decision will be made. And with that being said, that is all I have to say to you guys today. If you like that content, like, comment, subscribe, share the video with some peers. It's the last of the Aldous Huxley analysis videos. I'm a big fan of this guy, rightly so. Hi, she's so cute. I am such a big fan of Aldous Huxley and all his works because this dude was just he was just a British man. British men are one of the smartest individuals, at least back in the day. Now, I mean, I know a couple. They don't know the back of a shoe from the back of a wall. You know what I'm saying? Aldous Huxley was just a man that knew a lot about the objective nature of this world and knew a lot about the metaphysical backing of this world. Knew a lot about the operations of this place and the future of this world. And he was just trying to warn us human beings about meeting that horrible, inevitable end. Don't let the place get you down. We do know that we are adult right, with drugs and all these synthetic drugs and bad food and false ersatz relationships, and all propagated by these dark elites that sacrifice their kids to the name of some demiurge, right? Some horrible, malicious god. But remember, we can ascend and we will ascend. We will try our best to do what we can for the people around us that are willing to hearken to knowledge. And if they don't want to, then there's nothing you could do. You could lead a horse to the water, but you can't make them drink. And with that being said, stay radiant. I shall see you guys in the next one. Woo!